Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite Ravens YouTube channel and podcast. Talking Ravens all day, every day with your host, Justin P. And my MVP billion-dollar co-host, Miss Shannon Finch. This is episode 149 for the YouTube version, or for the audio version of season 2, episode 49. You can check that on the audio version. Descriptions are right there below. Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever. Just type in Talking Ravens all day, every day, and it'll pop up. And underneath of that is myself, Shannon, and David's social media platforms. Like I said, every show I have all platforms at the moment. Shannon, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, David, Facebook, Instagram. So hit us up. Like I said, if it's some Raven related stuff that you feel like we're not covering, hit us up in the DM and we'll try to add it in one of our shows, either our recap or a preview, so like we get our feedback from our viewers. So,
Mhm.
Dave, the recap and the ass stomping we gave the Texans on Christmas Day. So, without further ado, we'll let Shannon take it away.
So, Justin, I think this is going to be one of those shows we talk about where it's not that long because that's how great the Ravens played on Christmas. Like, it's not even nothing to talk about, but we're still going to recap the game like we normally do. So, give me your good, bad, and ugly for week 17.
Good. I'm gonna start the defense first because you pitched the shutout. That's not your fault. Derek Henry ran into the end zone by the safety. You pitched the shutout because a top quarterback. Yes, I know weapons were hurt, et cetera. But still, like Tame say, you still that guy. We've seen guys made it work with less. So, and I love CJ
Hmm.
Stroud. But hey, hats off to Zach Orr and his staff. The
Hmm.
offense, another 30-point outing. Right, like I said, statistically, Ma, it wasn't nothing amazing, but he way how he If you watch the game, you see he dominated. So for those who like the stat check, if you actually watch the game, 3 total touchdowns, over 200 something yards total, and they were all impactful plays. Derrick
Hmm.
Henry had a monster game, over 100 something yards. Every time we feed the big fella, it works in our favor more than not. Um, the offensive line was pretty good for the most part. I think Lamar only got sacked once, maybe.
Hmm.
And the coaching actually, there wasn't no dumb challenges. Like I said, the game plan on both sides of the ball were good. Steven Sims gave us a little something special teams. He had a few decent returns for the few little opportunities he got.
Hmm.
Bad, just clean up little silly penalties. Defensively, probably just tighten up in certain areas of zone. That's just me nitpicking. And ugly, no ugly at all. So, zero Shannon.
So, I say for the good was pretty much everything. I think that was a total team dominance on all phases, really. Anything we talk about, like you said, it'll just be nitpicking at this point. So for my good, I just put pretty much everything. And it was another week with limited penalties. Penalties has been an issue all season. So the fact that we're playing better, like more disciplined football at this time of the year, that's a good recipe for success going into the playoffs. The
Yes.
only bad I have is the safety, because like you said, without that, they wouldn't have scored any points. But that was, when you're in the end zone like that, sometimes that can happen. But that was a bad, and I don't have any ugly for the second week in a row. I don't have any ugly. So the Ravens are playing some really good football right now. Right, they should be proud of themselves for real.
The best time, too.
Hmm. All right, so let's move on to the position grades. What grade did you give the coaches?
I can make plus. Like I said, we can nitpick with little things, but I'm not going to do that. A plus. Like I said, defense pitched the shot out. The offense, 31 points. Yes, the yardage might not been there because we scored every time we had the ball. So of course, it's not gonna be a lot of yards. When teams have a lot of yards, sometimes it's just they it's chunks and chunks, or they just you know we score at a high clip. So sometimes you're not going to see 500 yards of total offense because when
Hmm.
we put the ball, we're going to move the ball and put it in the end zone. Not just move the ball, move the ball, move the ball. So A plus.
Hmm.
Special teams are good. Something made us field goal extra point. So A plus.
I gave them an A plus as well. You can't complain about anything. The way they had this team prepared from the bye and ready to attack the tough stretch of 3 games in 10 days. I don't care what you say about the Giants. We just saw the Giants beat the Colts. Like, you know what I mean? People try to dismiss that team. Everybody's a professional in this league.
Yeah,
So
we
any
did.
given Sunday you can lose. And I feel like for the past 3 weeks, the Ravens coaches have had them prepared each phase. Like I said, even special teams haven't been as bad as they've been, throughout the season. They've been pretty good the past 3 weeks. So I give the coaches an A+. We got to give them credit because we give them a lot of blame when things aren't going right, but things are going right, so we're definitely going to give them credit. So they get an A+. And what grade did you give Lamar?
I guess A+. No turnovers. Three total touchdowns, over 260 yards combined. So yeah, A+.
I gave him A+ as well. I'm not one of these to see like 300 yards, like we were just talking about the yards. I don't need to see 300 yards, 5 touchdowns to make me feel like you had a great game. Like you said, Lamar was really efficient. Every time we got the ball, we basically scored. You don't do that without your quarterback playing at a high level. And to me, like I've said, like I might be tough on Lamar, but that's because I have had high expectations for him as well. I feel like Lamar is one of one, and when Lamar is playing like himself, like playing his ball, brand of ball, it's hard to beat the Ravens on those days. And he played his brand against the Texans. Like it was balanced. You got your passing. It wasn't 2, 3, 400 yards, but so what? We didn't need it because we were scoring. He got his rushing in, wasn't overdoing it. I like it. A+ for Lamar. It was a great game.
Yeah, and like I said,
And,
for when we get to the running backs, a lot of that stuff be what Shannon Sharp say empty calorie, like that 5 yards in the air, but they
mhm,
down. So it's like,
yeah, you got to take it for what it is because every game can tell a different story. So like you said, it's a reason why you're throwing for X amount of yards sometimes. All right. And what about the running backs? What grade did you give the running backs?
I give him A+. Derrick Henry had a good showing. Keaton Mitchell and Ali had some solid runs and a couple good screen catches. So yeah, A+.
A+ for me as well. I felt like Derrick Henry was unstoppable. This is the way you win in the postseason. Great defense and a run game. Passing, all that's going to come. I know we can do that. We even had shootouts this year. We know we can do that.
Yeah,
But every game not going to call for that. So I give him an A+. Derrick Henry, that was a Derrick Henry game, and we needed that because it's like a couple of weeks. It was kind of like seemed like he was missing a little bit, but lately he's been getting back into the groove of when he was even in the MVP conversation. So A+ from Derrick Henry alone.
absolutely.
And what grade did you give the wide receivers? Oh, sorry, let's do the offensive line. What grade did you give the offensive line?
Oh, A+. Like I said, they ain't give up. A team is going to make some plays or get there. It's just they're not going to just completely just dominate a team. So they did A+.
Hmm.
They gave up 3 pressures. The Texan D line get paid, so they're going to make their fair share of plays, so to say, just like anything. But they
Hmm.
A+. Like you don't rush for what you rush for. You don't score 31 points without them. So A+.
Yeah, we got the same report card today. I gave him an A+ as well. You and Maurice talked about their front and what they could bring pressure wise and things like that and how good they were. So I feel like our offensive line they stood the test. They took the task and you like you said you can't pass for that, you can't rush for that, you can't do any of that offensively without your offensive line. One sack, they protected Lamar. Derrick Henry had a day, so we definitely got to give them credit. A+.
Mm-hmm.
And what grade did you give the wide receivers and tight ends?
A+. Yes, the yardage wasn't there, but the unselfishness is why I'm giving them an A+. Because
Mhm,
Zay and Bateman could have easily, oh man, Bateman trying to get 10 touchdowns. Oh man, Zay probably trying to get 12. They put that aside. They said, no, we trying to accomplish a bigger goal.
mhm.
And same with Andrews. Yes, he had his solid game, but they all put their selfishness to the side, to stick with the game plan, So definitely just for that alone, A+.
And I gave him an A, and for the same reasons you just said. Like I said, nobody had a bunch of yards. Mark Andrews had about what did he have?
Like
68, something like that.
something like no
and
more than
and and that was the he had the most yards. But the run game was working. So when it's working, you stick with it. And like you said, the guys they aren't selfish. Like this is a good group of guys, and that's part of the reason why I don't want particular wide receivers to come because it's like you got to have a different type of mindset to be in this offense. Because like we talked about, different weeks. Some weeks it might be a game where the run game is going to be featured. Then the next week it might be for the wide receivers and tight ends. And outside of that, we still got two touchdowns out of that group. So I give them an A. I think they had a good day for what was asked of them. I mean, that was a total. It was the
because of the effort and not crying.
yeah.
They
None of
could have,
that. No.
you know,
Yeah. All right. So let's move over to the defense. What grade did you give the defensive line?
A plus. I mean, Joe Mixon, they stuffed them. Yes, they got to the goal line. 'Cause like I said, this team get paid too, so they're
Hmm.
gonna something. But they got pressure on Stout, got a couple sacks. Like I said, the Texans didn't rush for nowhere near 100 yards, so A plus.
A+ for me as well. I mean, they couldn't do anything. The Texans offense couldn't do anything. And like you said, we could talk about who wasn't there for them, but that's sports. Sometimes it happens like that. So I'm
Positive
not gonna
pasta.
yeah, like I'm not gonna slight our guys for who wasn't there because Joe Mixon, he been there all year and he still couldn't do nothing. Even with trying to fight our backup quarterback before the game, that didn't do anything. And he didn't do anything during the game. So you got to give credit to the defensive line. Like we talked about the offensive line, the D line did their thing. I gave him an A+ as well.
Absolutely.
And what grade did you give the linebackers?
A plus. Like basically be that teacher trying to hurry up and get on spring break, give everybody A plus because like I said, you can nitpick about stuff, but like I said, they didn't stay Stroud ran under 200 yards passing. No, like, they didn't give up nothing in the pass game. Joe Mixon didn't dash gashes. So
Hmm.
yeah, A plus. They were coming up making tackles, and Chris Boyle got a sack too. Yes, A plus.
A+ for me. I said we got the same report card this week. Same thing about the D line. Like you can't do all of that without the linebackers also doing their part. Like you said, it's not nothing major. Even when you think about plays that were made or what might have looked like a big play, didn't matter. Like we were dominating them. Like they didn't score any points, and we're
Get
not going
paid,
to act
they get
like
paid, so they want to make that. I just try
yeah,
to.
yeah,
They get paid, so they're gonna.
yeah,
We're not
yeah.
gonna
You're not going to
hold 0-0-0
zero.
and
Exactly, exactly. That
go
ain't
ahead.
going to never happen. That ain't
So
going to never happen. Right. So, what grade did you give the DBs?
I'll get them A plus plus. They win that bag, man. This is a passing league. I'm gonna say this
Hmm.
again. This is a passing league, and like I said, I know Tank Dell. What's your speed recovery? They still had Nico. Still had this person. Still Schultz. They still had enough guys to make it happen. And they still got Stroud. And the whole the 0 touchdown passes, you get a pick from Kyle Hamilton on the 200 yards. A plus plus.
I give him an A+ as well. For everything you just said, like the team, that was probably the best game they played collectively. Like every position group. I could have even went with an A for the wide receivers and tight ends. It wasn't like they had a bad game. You know what I mean? Like it was a great win. Like team win. Everybody did what they had to do. Um, what grade did you give special teams?
I give him A plus. Tuck made his field goal, made his extra points. Our punts were pretty good. Steven Sims gave us some decent returns. A plus.
I gave him an A. I can't remember any bad plays, anything that that would have changed anything. Really. Give him an A, and shout out to Justin Tucker, because he had a rough start to the season as well. But since the bye week, we haven't had to deal with any of those things that we dealt with all through the season. So shout out to them. The guys are turning it around, and you got to give credit to the coaches and the players as well.
Yeah, whatever was said in that meeting, with far defensively, because no offense, they've been scoring. That's
Hmm.
the problem with the O line. All they still was putting up on. Whatever they said defensively, they got it together. Like and they couldn't. Man, you both said this would probably happen. Well,
Hmm.
together and it's looking great, man. Like you sat some guys down, probably one of the
Hmm.
especially guys that have been
Yeah.
here, that productive
Hmm.
in this year just ain't got it. So I give Zach Will credit for that.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the topics that we have today. So the Ravens have the number one offense. Last time I checked, number one offense. Do you think teams will be interested in Todd Monken as a head coach for next year?
Possibly. But like I said, my only thing is he's an older guy, so they like think
Hmm.
a guy that's gonna stick around for a little bit, not a guy maybe that's gonna coach for a few years, then retire or go in the booth.
Hmm.
He might not want it because that's a lot of stress for a guy in his 60s. That's why Kuvier stepped down and other coaches, that's a lot of stress when you get up there in age. So
Hmm.
they probably will because they gotta teams gotta pluck from somewhere that had some success. But so to answer your question, I'm gonna say yes, but I don't think he's really interested in going there, especially if he know he'll probably get fired in 2 years if it's not the right job.
Hmm. I feel like you've been copying off me today because that was exactly what I was going to say. Like I feel like it's a possibility that teams will be interested in him. You got the number one offense. Lamar won MVP last year. Lamar's in the conversation to be MVP again. Todd Monken should get a lot of credit for what the Ravens have done offensively for the past 2 years. But I think that it's also fair to wonder, does he want to be a head coach? When I looked at his coaching history, he was a head coach once in college for what did I see? Southern Mississippi.
Yeah,
And then after that, it was just offensive coordinators in the NFL, and then in college, he's back in the NFL. And like you said, his age, like he might not want to do it. So
that's a
will
lot.
teams possibly be interested? Possibly, they might bring him in for an interview or two, but do he want to do it? I don't know. Like that's a bigger question to be asked.
Look, you ain't taking Lamar with you, so that's a
Right.
hard no. I can't pluck him. So
And I think age, even though it shouldn't be any sort of age discrimination when it comes to getting jobs, we know that's not right. But the reality of it is a young man's league. You know what I mean? Like you don't see too many older guys continuing to get hired. I mean, Bill Belichick is probably arguably the best head coach ever, right? NFL head coach ever. And no team picked him up this past off season, coming into the 24 season. Um, I see Pete Carroll was saying that he might be interested in getting back into coaching, but it's like it's not that you guys can't relate, but sometimes you gotta get the younger guys in because they can relate more with who's coming in. Same with coaching in college. Like look at the coaches they're bringing in college. A lot of former players, guys that people can relate to. Like
but
I think
Belichick
that
did
matters.
get the North Carolina job, so that's
Oh yeah, but
I guess that's that was
yeah,
one.
I think that that's funny to me. I think he might have been trying to use that for leverage, but yeah, he got that job. But with Monken in the NFL, it's like I don't know if they're like beating down the doors of older guys to coach. Like, you know what I mean?
It will
And he
probably have
might not want.
it had to be a team that's not too far away from winning. Maybe a
Hmm.
piece or two here and they're good. Not a team that's going to complete rebuild. He's not going to want to do that.
Yeah, yeah, I can't see him wanting to do that either.
Like the Bears is a team that's like a piece or two away because you got Caleb. Caleb playing his heart out. They just need some help with some, like, one
They
off.
need an offensive line.
That's why I said one good off season can help them be in contention because they got the most important position right, the quarterback.
Hmm.
Same with Jacksonville. They just go spend a little money and draft right. You could be back in the mix.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so the next topic. I'm sure you saw this because it was floating around on social media. After the game, Diontae Johnson was chatting and joking around with different Ravens players. I think I saw Lamar over there and Derrick Henry and a lot of guys was over there chatting and talking. And what did you think about saying that? What did you make of it?
Uh, well, my first thing is we don't know the whole. We know what we was told, but we don't know the whole entire thing behind that. So it could
Hmm.
have got swayed a certain way because for them to be that friendly with him, it's like they obviously wouldn't. It couldn't have been that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So and then two, like I said, they was with him for a month for some change, so they built a local camaraderie, and it's not as personal as it is to them, to us, because like I said, they look at it as just it's business and all that. So you move,
Hmm.
you're not here no more, you moved on. So hey, but yeah, like I said, I ain't too surprised. I ain't expect nobody to give him the cold. Maybe I was probably expected maybe one or two people maybe to give him a cold show like Zay or somebody. But I already knew he wasn't going. They weren't going to do him like that because they don't want to give the media nothing to talk about too. That's another thing.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, I agree with you. Like I feel like even when it happened and a reaction you got from the players, they didn't seem upset. And I kind of made a post about that, was talking about it in our sports groups. Like I thought that was interesting, the reaction that the 49ers players had versus the reaction that Ravens players had. Like you said, we don't know what happened. We don't know the full story of what was going on or what he may have been told, or we don't know. What we have been told or what we have heard, I know I've heard that Harbaugh and Lamar now we're trying to comfort him at the games, and you could tell the guys liked them. Like it wasn't an issue with personnel. Um, it might not even have been an issue with like who was on the team. It might not even have been an issue about opportunities. Like it could have been an issue with like how somebody was spoken to. Like we don't know because from what I heard, like John Harbaugh is the reason why he got suspended and not cut immediately. So it could have been beef with Eric DeCosta for all we know, like the front office or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it might not even be
Huh?
a coaching issue because people were saying, "Oh, this that seems like it's something with Harbaugh," and I'm like, I'm not buying the Harbaugh thing because they said that Harbaugh was very supportive of him. So I think Harbaugh probably would have liked it to Rico. I think that after when we came back from the bye, he would have been suspended from the Giants game. But I think Harbaugh and them would have welcomed him back for the Steelers game. Like, imagine that. Imagine you coming back and making a big statement in a game against your former team. I think they would have been for that. I just think sometimes the business of sports can make things ugly. He might
Yeah,
have been uncomfortable. You know what I mean? He might have been uncomfortable with the statement that Eric DeCosta put out. Because remember, we didn't know what happened. We were looking at the coaches like, why he didn't get in? Like as if we were looking at them more than him refusing. So I think it says a lot, and I think it has more to do with the business side than being mad at the coaches or the players or even lack of opportunity. Like it just might have been something else there that we just don't know about.
for sure.
But I did just see the Texans media because he was talking to the media. They asked him about what happened here, kind of like how he ended up there, and he really didn't want to touch on it, which I can respect. I'd rather him, not keep it PC versus throw shots because at some point you have time to tell your story. So he didn't throw any shots. He said he made friends here,
He's
got connections.
pivot or something, and I'm sure
Yeah,
Brian Clark is already putting in the notions to
yeah.
have all season so he can tell that whole story.
He probably needs to do that though because I'm sure he wants to get paid. He wants the team to pick him up. Like people might wonder things, so it might give you a different light because when you have a reputation that follows you, like that can hinder you from getting money that you want, going to a team where you actually are being competitive. So, like I said on our last episode, I wish him well. Like I do think the Texans at this point would be a good spot for him because they have nothing but opportunity to give him.
Yeah,
So as long as he go out there and make plays, I think that he'll do good, and he might end up being back with them next year.
yeah. They can say they definitely need him because, like I said, Nico can't do it by himself.
Yeah. All right, and so our last topic, which has been a topic now for a couple of weeks. Should Lamar Jackson win MVP?
Mm. Yes. If you want to go strictly off the numbers, yes. But like I said, Saquon just ran for 2,000 yards. Probably if they play, I don't because they can't go no higher because whoever wins that Detroit game is getting the one.
Hmm.
So so they're going to be stuck with the two. So they might rest them, or might be a thing. Sirianni say, you know what, you're going to play this first half to get this because next nothing's guaranteed next year. And after that, you pulling you, or
Hmm.
once you pulling you. So record wise, definitely Lamar, but I would like to see Saquon Barkley because it's just give a different trajectory to the award. You know what I'm saying? It show up.
Like it don't always have to be a quarterback.
Yes, yes. Everybody know for sure. Everybody know my eight guy, but just to show other positions, like yeah, you can win. That's why I said that's why it's called the MVP, not the MVQ.
Hmm.
That's why. So I would definitely like to see that because plus the last running back, last non-quarterback was Adrian Peterson in 2012. So tell me 12 years. That's the last time we had one. So yeah, like I said, numbers wise, ain't no question. But yeah, I would like to see Saquon Barkley be personally. Just like I said,
Hmm.
just personally.
Um, I think it's tough to answer it because I think that even when you have a clear, direct definition of what makes the MVP or who should be the MVP based on whatever their definition of it is, I still think every year it's a different reason, right? Like when Adrian Peterson won it, I think it was about stats. Like I don't think it was. I think it was about because what he accomplished that year. That was the same year he came back from that injury, right?
Ran for two bands, almost broke the record. It was like 40 yards shot.
Yeah. So that was like wow, like something different. Thinking about like the NBA when Russell Westbrook won like over James Harden, it was because he had a triple double. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we might look at it and be like, it's stats as the reason why somebody's MVP. But then another time you can look at it and be like, it's because history was made is why this person is MVP. I think this is the first time in a long time that it's actually a debate. Like, because when you look at the past couple of MVPs, even if you just say the last five, I feel like everybody who won, you knew, like, yeah, Lamar's
Yeah,
MVP, Aaron Rodgers, like it really, even last year, I feel like Lamar came and snatched it from everybody who they were
Yep.
trying to give it to, and he won it in the last month.
Mm-hmm.
I was one who thought that Lamar was MVP before we played out the first Steelers game, because during that stretch of when we was on we had like a 5 game win streak, we lost to the Browns, but like the way Lamar was playing, it was different. Like that's when they started calling him MV3, right? So I did think, I say yes, Lamar's MVP. Then we had the Steelers game. You have to account for all of that, right?
Yeah.
Then we come back, and since then, since the bye week, he's just been balling. I just feel like I don't know how to answer it, because I feel like you can make an argument for everybody. I feel like the argument being made for Josh Allen, the only reason I got an issue with the argument being made for him is because to me it's everything outside of just what you saw with your eyes, right? Like people will be like, well, they were projected to be third in their division, right? But
Audrey was that
when
I was dead, and I had to pull his card with that bullshit. He tried
Because it's
that.
like, when have you ever said that about any other MVP? Like, when have we ever talked about a projection of what a team was projected to do, before they won MVP? So I don't know why that matters. Saying, Josh Allen, he's not throwing to anybody. He doesn't have help. I don't remember that ever being an argument for Lamar when Lamar won MVP. When Lamar won, nobody, who was he throwing to? You know what I mean? Like, so I just think it's funny when people just make up reasons why somebody else should win. I would rather you say you have voter fatigue, you tired of
Yeah,
Lamar winning,
yeah,
versus trying to
yeah,
make it try and versus you bringing up those reasons for Josh Allen. Now, I think Josh Allen's had an MVP year. Like, he's had a great year. He deserves to be in the conversation. I just don't think it's so clear cut that it's easily him. Because if you look at the tape from week one, and then we're going to be coming into we're going to be going week 18 next week. But from week one to week 18, you have to look at everything when you're thinking about MVP. And
yeah.
and all they talk about with Josh Allen is, well, he beat
Record.
Kansas City and he beat Detroit.
I'm recording, bro. I'm recording. Go ahead, Sean. My bad.
Like, they'll say he beat the Chiefs and he beat the Lions. And it's like, well, what about him getting smashed by the Ravens? Like, it's like they're not considering everything that transpired throughout the whole year when thinking about it, and you're pointing to every reason outside of just what you see with your eyes. So I think any three of them, Lamar, Josh, or Saquon, would be deserving of it.
Yeah.
Um, I know a lot of people don't want it to be co-MVPs like McNair and Peyton Manning had to do. But if any year that maybe, like you say, if it has to be quarterbacks, if any year that it deserves to be two, it might be this year. I mean, because arguments can be made for Lamar and Josh Allen. But I think Josh Allen's going to win because people keep saying fatigue, fatigue, fatigue. Saquon Barkley, a few weeks ago, I said that about Saquon Barkley when someone was saying Josh Allen is unanimous. And I was like, I think Saquon Barkley got something to say about that. So it's just not easy to say who's going to win. But I'll tell you what, to me, Saquon and Lamar have an argument for Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. Like, I feel like Lamar or Saquon should win either award. Like, it's an argument to be made for that. This is the best year Lamar's ever had.
Yeah.
With all the turmoil that we had and everything we went through, like, talking about projections, wherever you projected the Ravens to be, we had a rough year. Like, you know what I mean? And then it's like with Josh Allen, I hate to be this person, but look at who you played in comparison to who we played. Like, if y'all gonna start pointing to all this other reasons why Josh Allen deserves it, like projections, then let's look at everything. Let's look at the competition. It's not like we haven't had games where we were able to sit Lamar down because we were blowing people out. So I feel bad for the voters because in previous years I feel like it was a clear cut, yes, this person is MVP, particularly at this time of the year. But right now, I don't know. Like, I feel like they got their work cut out for them. I think it's going to be Josh Allen just because enough of them have said, that whole fatigue thing, and Lamar already has two, which I don't think that should matter. Um, but it's tough. I don't know that Lamar is going to be MVP, but he probably should be if we want to be honest about what an MVP is.
I agree. And to piggyback on Josh Allen, like you said, they're not gonna say voters fatigue because it makes them look like they're hating. So they're not gonna say that.
Hmm.
Saquon Barkley, the only thing I will say when people use it against him, well, that's what offensive player of the year for. And then they'll use the argument because I heard somebody say this too, and it wasn't, and it was a compelling argument. It was a good one.
Hmm. Hmm.
You can take any running back basically that's any good and put him behind the Eagles line, they'll do damn near the same thing. And not this is not slight Saquon at all. He's doing his thing, but they just
Hmm.
basically saying that because how good that Eagles offensive line is in that scheme. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. You do put Derrick Henry or Joe Mixon or CMC or anybody like that, they'll probably get 2,000 yards too. So
Hmm.
I get that argument as well. So that might hurt Saquon
Yeah, and that's probably why he'll get Offensive Player of the Year.
because like if he did this with the Giants, it might have stuck out a little more.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
did with the Rams, and the Rams weren't that good. So it's like, it's just it's
Like
him.
he was actually the MVP. Like they're winning because of him. Yeah. I don't
I
know, but
think
it'll be interesting to see who
he
wins.
still most likely will be 13-3 or whatever they is without Saquon, because that's how good
Yeah,
that when they're healthy.
I agree.
Well, everybody, that's it for today's show. Excuse me, Shannon. Great topics as usual. Like I said, next week we'll be back. Our regular days, holiday week back to back. Thursday, Big Dave will be back on here. We'll do our preview this week 18 game. It's a pivotal game for us for sure. Because we win, we get the North. It's just as simple as that. We win, we gotta take our ass to Houston. So, we
Hmm.
try that home playoff game. I'm trying to I'm basically gonna get my playoff ticket tomorrow, get out the way while I sleep. Something crazy happen, all they'll do is just reimburse me. So I'm gonna take a leap of faith.
Hmm.
Go ahead, Shannon.
First, I want to say congratulations to Terrell Suggs and Marshall Yonder for being named finalists for the Hall of Fame class of 2025. I think we'll find out at the NFL Honors, which is what like the day before the Super Bowl, who's going to make the Hall of Fame. Um, I think that Terrell Suggs will be first ballot. Not quite sure about Marshall Yonder, but definitely shout out to those guys for making it that far. And lastly, anybody that's going out to celebrate the new year, be safe. Hope you enjoy yourself. Hope you guys had a great Christmas and all the other holidays, Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and everything else. And everybody can be prosperous in the new year. Like just looking forward to 2025. 2024 has been an interesting year.
Yeah, it's crazy because this is our last show for 2024, and
Hmm.
it's hard on us. So Thursday we'll start our first show of the new year. So happy New Year, everybody. Like Shannon said, be safe, be responsible. Like if you can't drive, call an Uber, get a ride. We don't need nobody get no car accident. So especially starting out the new year.
Yep.
But I think we have some games on tonight. Dolphins and Browns play, and I think the Lions play tonight too. So yeah, so check those games out in the
The
NBA.
Dolph No, they played the Browns and the Dolphins played yesterday, didn't
Yeah, they did.
they? Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's just
Somebody,
the Lions and
somebody
it's
playing.
just the Lions and the 49ers today.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I knew Detroit played. I thought it was a double header for some reason. But
Mm-mm.
like I said, well, I enjoy that game for what it's worth. We're still football fans. NBA still on. So then when you got the college football playoffs resuming on New Year's Day, it's getting thick right there.
Hmm.
And I'm about to say, make sure y'all trade. Talk Ravens all day, every day. From your host, Justin P., and my MVP billion dollar co host, Miss Shannon Finch. Me and Maurice will record tomorrow. Last week he got caught up, so we didn't do anything. So we'll record tomorrow. We'll go around like 5 o'clock so we can finish early.
Hmm.
See you guys on Thursday and Happy New Year.
Good night. See you, Justin.
Shannon.